221. We got playoff predictions. We got some firings. We got some end of season accolades to talk about. Dean's on the episode tonight with me as we walk through this.
What end of season accolades?
Just like Shohei Ohtani breaking the all-time Dodger single season home run record with 55. That was really the big one. But do you want to start off with the managers who were retained or fired, or do you want to start off right with the predictions?
No, I would say just get the managers out of the way.
Okay, cool. So, as always, brought to you by Chinook Seedery. Use the discount code The Skipper's View to get 10% off all sunflower seed needs. Also, be sure to check out during the playoffs. If you want to make some stats and look at playoff stuff, go look at StatSoldier.com, Dean's new website. It's pretty awesome. So let's start off with, I think we got to start with the Mets. So the New York Mets, they have decided that they are going to hold on and retain their manager, Carlos Mendoza. Dean, do you see the Mets fall from grace here in 2025 and missing the playoffs? Do you see this as a manager that needed to get fired, or do you think this was a good decision to stick with him for next year?
I thought he was going to get fired. I just feel like when you have that big of a collapse with that much pressure, I can understand the fact that Mendoza is not the person who's forming the roster, particularly the pitching. I think there's added pressure this season, obviously because of the Juan Soto contract. So take that for what you will. But even even the game on yesterday, I almost said Sunday, yesterday, even that game felt like it was just mismanaged and he really rushed and was just kind of moving pitchers a little too much. But what do I know? I'm just a guy who watches baseball and I've never coached it. But yeah, I'm a little shocked that they're keeping him. Everyone seems to like him, so I don't think that's the biggest surprise. We'll get to some bigger surprises in a moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think that a lot of Mets fans seem to really like Carlos Mendoza. My grandparents, who I'll take their word for it, they're the biggest Mets fans I know outside of your family. They seem to really like Carlos Mendoza all year, and I don't think that he is solely responsible for this downfall. The Mets had a pitching depth issue when it came to the pitching department. And that's not on Mendoza to produce pitchers. That's the pitching coach as well as the GM and the owner. And it seemed like every prospect they called up did fairly well, but their veterans between Minaya, Montas, Kodai Senga, they had a lot of injuries throughout the entire year where David Peterson, who, was not a household name in the baseball industry a year or two ago, he was kind of looked upon as the ace the entire year until these rookies came up. So it's not shocking to me the Mets missed the playoffs just due to the fact of the pitching. I am a little shocked based off the payroll, but again, who isn't?
Well, the payroll is so inflated because of Soto, so there's that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Look, they took a closer who, for the past 3 years, was with the Yankees closing games, right? And Clay Holmes, and made him a starter. And he was a pretty good starter, but he wasn't there. He shouldn't have never been their ace, and he kind of was their ace at one point just because of everyone kind of falling apart. So, yeah, again, I'm not a Mets fan, so I don't have super strong feelings on it. I definitely felt yesterday that at the end of that game that Mendoza would have been fired, but I mean, he doesn't have a long leash, right? It's going to be next season, and then that's it. And honestly, if they get off to a bad start next season, you might see a change in the spring, which some of these teams, which you're going to talk about the extensions, we saw that.
Yeah. Let's jump to Minnesota's Rocco Baldelli. So this one was kind of a shocker just because it didn't seem like Minnesota really gave Rocco Baldelli the option to win. They have a ton of interesting pieces, but I don't think they have the pieces that were needed in order to make the playoffs and let alone have a run in the playoffs. So That was weird to see. Definitely was not a huge fan of the move.
Yeah,
Um,
but you know what? He's been manager. How long has he been manager for the Rays? Rays. He played for the Rays. How long has he been manager for the Twins now? 5 years or six
let me
years?
let me pull that up. So he's
I
been
think
with
it's
the
been 6
Twins.
years.
He's been with the Twins since 2019. He did a full six
Yeah.
years.
So
So,
again, you hit a point where, yeah, they put paper like players like Royce Lewis around him, uh, but the whole franchise is kind of in flux right now, with all the ownership and all that too. So again, he's been there for 6 years. He's got a winning record, um, overall for his career, but I think it's time. Yes, I know Will and Sam and you were talking about that in the group chat. 6 years though is plenty of time, in my opinion.
yeah, and I agree with you on that. And baseball's a little weird because it's like, if a owner is not putting in the capital in order to fund a team, it just seems that most people look to blame the owner rather than the manager. And I don't think the owners made the right moves here. But it's interesting because you call up that he has a winning record. And right now, if you look at the Minnesota Twins, they got Walker Jenkins, they got Emmanuel Rodriguez, Kalen Culpepper. That Luke Keyshaw just came up and he got injured for the rest of the year. He was great while he was up. Brandon Winnecore is another name that people are expecting to
But
have
that's
a
that
big.
I guess is kind of the point. Like if you're kind of resetting the franchise with these young players, maybe it's not like that's the opportunity to bring in the manager that fits them.
Yeah, and that is totally fair. That is totally fair. I guess I was a little caught off guard considering like the Twins have two, possibly three guys or four guys that are top 100 players that will be up next year. That's not including Eduardo Tate. He's 19 years old. He's not coming up, but he's a top 50 essential player in the prospect system for them. So little weird, but again, I think you make sense there where it might just be the organization turning the page and starting a new regime. And finally, I think the biggest firing of the day so far has to be the Giants and Bob Melvin. So Bob Melvin, big time manager. He's definitely a notable guy. He's been around the league for a while. What is your take on the Giants with Bob Melvin, given the moves that they made this year?
What do you mean?
Like, I just mean that they went out and got Devers. We know that they got Adamas last year, or this year as well
Yeah,
in
they
free
signed
agency.
Adamas and they traded for Devers and they still didn't make the playoffs. So he gets booted.
I guess so. He's just three-time manager of the year. I know he hasn't won that award
Yeah,
since
but one of those,
2018.
yeah, I was gonna say that was over a decade ago. That he won. I think
Well,
he won the first one in like 2006.
2007, 2012, and 2018.
Yeah.
And then he has won a World Series. And maybe the Giants are doing the same thing, turning the page, but I just don't think that the Giants, Devers did not, like, obviously he came around and was awesome. I just don't know what the Giants are expecting because it's like the Dodgers are not going anywhere.
I think they're expecting to make the playoffs.
Mm.
Shocking. When you spend a bunch of money on Willie Adamas and trade for Rafael Devers and have Logan Webb, you expect to make the playoffs, not be a 500 team.
Fair enough. I feel
And
like
I
the
believe,
team.
but I believe both years that he was manager, they were 500.
Yeah, and that's fair. Those are fair takes. I felt like they needed a little bit more on this roster, which they could have gone after next year with Devers and Adamas under contract for a while. And who knows what goes on with Verlander? He's getting older and he takes up a lot of salary cap right now. They could have went in, at Logan
But
Webb's
I
obviously
think
involved.
he's done, right? His contract's up. Isn't it a 1 year deal?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, you have some money to spend here. You don't have a great prospect system. You have a few notable prospects, like guys like Bryce Eldridge and stuff, to come up. I just, I thought they would give it another year or so, but I guess I was wrong. But that's pretty much was there any other big manager who got fired today that I missed? I think that was it out of the notable firings and retains of today.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Let's jump right into the predictions then. So we got our playoff bracket set. Dean, where do you want to start? National League or American League?
Share the screen.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So we got the postseason bracket. Where do we want to start? Left or right side?
Start on the National League side.
Okay. So I think that the least interesting series out of all these has to be the top right, Cincinnati, Los Angeles Dodgers.
Completely
I think,
disagree, but okay.
okay.
How
Okay.
how is a series that has Shohei Ohtani in it the least interesting?
Because I think the Dodgers are going to wipe the floor with the
And Hunter
Cincinnati Reds.
Green.
I,
Pull up the
eh,
pull up the pull, go. Give your take.
yeah. So for me in the wild card series, with it being, a much smaller series in terms of wins needed, you're absolutely right. Guys like Hunter Green, Abbott, they could absolutely shove and steal a game or two that they're not supposed to against LA. And we could have a massive upset here where a lot of people take the Dodgers the way I'm thinking. I just don't think the Reds have the offensive power in order to overtake a Dodgers team in the first round. And I think with the Dodgers, having to play into a wild card game, and they just had Kershaw go, and he's the end of the rotation for
Okay,
them.
so yeah, I guess we have a different opinion on what interesting means.
Like obviously, stars are a part of this.
I'm much more likely to tune in to the Reds and Dodgers than I am to the Cubs and Padres.
Really? Okay. So the least interesting to me is actually Detroit Cleveland. I just think that series we might see a full series in that one since it's divisional rivals.
Wouldn't that make it more interesting?
But the star power is lackluster. You got
Tariq
Scooball and J
Screwball.
Ram. Yeah, I know. Every team. These are all playoff teams. They all have
Yeah,
stars.
they're
I'm
all
not.
interesting. Yeah. Okay, go.
I said the least interesting. One of them has to be the most least interesting. So I'm going to take the Dodgers. I think it's going to be a sweep. If not, it'll be a 2-1 series.
Yeah, I will also take the Dodgers reluctantly. But again, Blake Snell is okay. Otani is the third pitcher, I believe. I think that's the order they're going in. So, but they have Yamamoto as well. So even if Snell blows up against Green, you have I think it's Yamamoto and then Otani. So obviously I'll go Dodgers.
That's fine. So let's go down to the other side. San Diego Cubs. So you said this is the least interesting to you. I think this is going to be an awesome series because you got two loaded lineups. And obviously, San Diego has the bullpen advantage. They might even have the starting rotation advantage as well. I think San Diego, as good as the Cubs have been this year, I think San Diego has the Cubs outmanned and outgunned for this game of the series. And I'm going to take San Diego. I will take San Diego in gentlemen 2-1. 2-1.
I don't know
They'll
about
win.
that. I think when you have I think it's Matthew Boyd and Nick Pivetta as the starters tomorrow. I'm sorry, that's just not as interesting as Hunter Green and Blake Snell. So I just disagree with you there. I'll take the Cubs. I just don't think the Padres are gonna win.
Okay.
I don't have any. I don't have any crazy thoughts of that. I just feel like the Padres. I think the Cubs and the Padres were both up and down this year. The Padres at one point were the best team in base for whatever a couple weeks, best team in baseball. Everyone thought they were going to pass the Dodgers. I don't think they have. I'm still in Cease. I think would be the game 2 starter. But then it'd be you Darvish going into game 3, and I'm not super confident about that. So if it does go to a game 3 and you have like 40-year-old you Darvish on the mound, Cal Tucker's going to eat him alive. So
Yeah, for me, the real only kicker in this is the San Diego bullpen. I just think that if San Diego gets up in a game, it's going to be really hard to score on them. And if they go down in a game, they have the bullpen to rely on to get them out of a pinch. So I'm going to take San Diego to move forward. So right now we have it lined up as San Diego, Milwaukee for me, and you got Chicago, Milwaukee. And then we both have LA versus Philly in the divisional series. Do we want to just do wild card across the board and then divisional series and then World Series, or do you want to do National League then American League?
I think we just do National League and American League. So we'll just go back up to then. I have the Padres. I have the Dodgers and the Phillies in the divisional series. I'm going to go Phillies over the Dodgers in this one, and have the Phillies move on to the championship series.
Okay. I'm glad that we are in agreement because I also have the Phillies knocking out the Dodgers. I did even with the loss of Zach Wheeler, which I know it's a massive loss, especially in the playoffs, being who Zach Wheeler is in the playoffs. I just think the Dodgers have not sold me yet on this super team. Like, obviously, they have all the talent in the world. I'm not going to be surprised if they knock Philly out. I just don't think the Dodgers have played as good a baseball as the Phillies have all year long. And the Phillies have had their ups and downs too, but we got Kyle Schwarber, Harper, JT Realmuto. They're all going at this as a last ditch effort altogether because a few of these contracts, like we don't know if Schwarber is going to be back. The Phillies should sign him back, but I don't know. I trust in Sanchez. I trust in Suarez, Nola. I know not all of them have had the most spectacular seasons, especially Aaron Nola. But Sanchez and Suarez have been very, very solid throughout the entire year. And I think Philly added
solid. I mean, Sanchez is the second best pitcher in the National League, so I think
I was
solid.
talking about both them combined. So, obviously Sanchez has had a fantastic year, but Suarez, who had a much better year the year prior, definitely had a down year for what he did in 2024. So I side with you. Philly, I think, is going to take down the Dodgers. And I think people are going to be shocked, but I don't think they should be shocked. The Dodgers just have not been they've been incredible, but they've not been the super team that we expect.
I just don't want them to win. I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend that I like spew bullshit. Like, I just don't want them to win, so I'd rather the Phillies win. That's it.
I wouldn't say we're spewing BS. It's just
no. I'm just saying, like we're like you're talking about every single play. I don't care. I just don't want the Dodgers to win. It's very simple.
That's
like,
fair. That's fair. Yeah. So let's talk about Milwaukee. I have the Padres going against Milwaukee in the National League Divisional Series. In this one, I'm going to take Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee, I looked at the hitting stats before this. Milwaukee's a better hitting team than San Diego. And like just looking at the players and the stats, you'd think that San Diego would be a better lineup than Milwaukee. And no, Milwaukee gets on base more. They slug more. Their OPS leans towards Milwaukee in favorites. And then the pitching for Milwaukee overall has been outstanding. So they have the number one seed overall for a reason, the best record in baseball. Going with the Brew Crew.
You're telling me the number one seed has a better offense than the fifth seed?
I sense some sarcasm coming my way.
Very, very, very much sarcasm. I will go Brewers as well, just because I'm going to go home field advantage. With the Cubs, I don't think they have the pitching staff to go a 7-game series, whereas I do think that they can match up with the Padres better in a 3-game series for the wild card. 7-game series, I'm going to lean towards the Brewers. And again, I just want them to win. Like, I think that's a fun team to watch. I think it's a fun team to cheer for. I think anyone whose team is knocked out, which mine isn't, yours isn't, I think would root for a team like the Brewers because they're a franchise that hasn't won in forever, or a really long time, forever.
No, they've won before. I'm pretty sure. I'll pull it up.
As the Brewers, though.
Instead of the Milwaukee Braves, I thought the Brewers won. Didn't they?
No,
they
the Braves
didn't win.
moved.
What's up?
Regardless, so then I'll look that up. But then you have Phillies and Milwaukee.
Oh wow, you're right.
The Brewers haven't won. Yeah,
nope.
No, the Braves did, but I don't know if it was when they were the Milwaukee Braves. Whatever, not the point. Then you have Milwaukee and Phillies, and I'm going to go Phillies to go to the World Series.
Crazy. Last year, for those who've been with us, following the Skipper's View for an extended period amount of time now. Last year, we all filled out brackets and put out our infographics out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And Dean and I could not have. We were so polar opposite, and I believe you won the group challenge with that, correct? You had the best bracket out of everyone.
Yeah.
And this year we agree a lot. I'm taking Philly as well. I think Phillies lineup, playoff Bryce. I just think that they're hungry to get there, and I think that drive of having this last year of Schwarber, Realmuto, Harper all
Yeah,
together.
again, I just who cares? We just want to see Bryce. I just want to see Bryce Harper get a ring. It kind of solidifies him as I think he'll solidify him over Trout, in my opinion, for our generation. He'll have two MVPs in a ring, and Trout will have no rings.
That's a discussion for a different day. But I agree. I think everyone who is not a Bryce Harper hater wants to see Bryce get a ring finally. All right. So we have Philly, both of us advancing to the World Series out of the National League. That being said, let's jump to the American League wild card. Let's start off with the Cleveland versus Detroit series. I took Detroit. I'm taking Detroit for one reason only, and that's Tarek Skubal. I think that in a small series where you only got to win a couple games in order to advance the divisional, Tarek Skubal is an automatic quality start. And I think Skubal is going to go out there and give everything he's got in order to get a win in game one. I just don't believe in Cleveland, and I kind of like Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers.
I'm going to go Guardians just because Guardians are hot and Detroit's not. So pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward. No, and that's the smart plan. That's the smart plan.
The Guardians have home field advantage. They're playing better than anyone in baseball. Detroit's not. So yeah, you have Skubal, but who are you rolling out behind Skubal?
Exactly. I'm making a dumb bet. I just think I'm doing it too analytically. I think that going down 0-1 in a small series is a big deal, and I'm literally relying on Tarek Skubal to get them a win, and then hopefully from there their bullpen can carry them. But
what Skubal's like? What's Skubal versus Guardians 2025. Skubal has pitched.
He has a career 3-3 ERA against them. Oh no, he's a career.
Yeah, I'm just looking for this year.
record.
He's dominated them this year. So he's pitched 4 games and he's given up a total of 2 runs over 28 innings. So yeah, he's dominated them this year. So go. You could say you could use that as an arguing point.
That is my arguing point. Thank you for doing my homework for me. All right. Let's talk about the big series. The Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees.
Yeah, and we don't need to waste time. I want the Red Sox to win. I'm going to say the Red Sox can win. You're going to say the Yankees are going to win, and that's it. I don't think we need to sit here and say why or why not. They're very evenly matched. Yankees have home field advantage. Red Sox have won the series or the season series against the Yankees. Giolito going down right now is not great. Giolito is going to miss the wild card series, so. If I wasn't a Red Sox fan, I'd be like, that's a huge red flag. But I'm not going to sit here and not pick the Red Sox, and you're not going to sit here and not pick the Yankees. So we don't actually bet. If in reality, if we were making 2 brackets, I would still have the Red Sox beat the Yankees, but then I'd probably have the Red Sox lose against the Blue Jays. But I'm not going to have that. So
fair enough. Loyalist. I love it. So let's go back to the top of the board. Seattle in your bracket would be taking on Cleveland.
Yeah.
Who do you got? Seattle or Cleveland?
Yeah. Now I'll go Seattle. Better pitching staff. Deeper lineup. Seattle.
I'm with you. Seattle. I have no faith in Cleveland. I don't need to elaborate on that. Plus, I love Julio Rodriguez and that pitching staff. So Seattle, we're taking the Mariners. Let's jump to, well, for me, it's over Detroit. I'm taking Seattle over Detroit. Let's talk Toronto versus Boston. And I'm assuming you're taking Boston in that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Boston's gonna win the World Series, but that's why this is almost redundant for us in a way to do. So now it's like, okay, if I were branching off and I was taking my bias out of it, I would still have the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays. Okay. But I would then have the Mariners beat the Red Sox to then have a Mariners Phillies World Series.
Okay.
So let's I will say that, but my official in all the way back in April or March, my official predictions for the year had the Red Sox winning the World Series. So I'm going to stick with that. But if I was taking my bias out of it, then I'd have them lose to the Mariners. So I'm going to have the Red Sox advance to the championship series and then move to the World Series against the Phillies.
Yeah, it's a real bummer Boston doesn't have Giolito and or Roman Anthony for this, because I think your prediction back then is like, I don't think a lot of people would argue with you if they had those two guys. Now it's just like recency bias is caught up. But I'll take New York over Toronto. I Toronto's been kind of the big dog in the AL East all year. Well, I guess the Yankees were for a little bit. And then Toronto took over and they never looked back. I just, as a Yankee fan, I've never learned to fully fear Toronto the way I fear Boston in the division. And I think these teams know each other well. I think the pitchers for the Yankees are actually the advantage here. I think the Toronto lineup is just as good, if not better, than the Yankee lineup when fully healthy. But the Yankee lineup, they can obviously bang with anyone if they're hot. And it all depends if Aaron Judge comes in the playoffs, hot or not. And we know his playoff stats are not as good as his regular season, but it's still Aaron Judge. So I'm taking New York. Let's talk ALCS. You got Seattle versus Boston in this bracket situation. Are you sticking with Boston?
Yeah, I said that. I'm sticking with Boston to the World Series. Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm going to stick with New York to the World Series. Let's talk World Series now. You have Boston versus Philly. I have New York versus Philly. Let's talk about it from a Boston perspective, and then I'll
real quick with like the Yankees with Judge. Like, I know Hagen said that yesterday. Judge is still, I think he's like a sub 200 hitter in the playoffs.
I'll pull that up.
So we're talking about him being a great playoff hitter. I think he either bats like 195 or 205 in the playoffs overall for his career. I think he's got home runs, but he's played a bunch of games. He's still a sub 200 hitter, or just around 200. I wouldn't say that's great.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's not a great, like, his stats in the playoffs are significantly worse than the regular season.
They're bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
So they're bad. So what's his OPS? He's batting 205. What's his OPS?
It doesn't show his OPS on StatMuse. I got 45 hits, 16 bombs, 34 ribbies, and 37 runs in 58 games.
Okay, so like times 3. Yeah, I mean he's hitting like a little less than what he averages for home runs, right? So he still has the power, but he's not hitting for average whatsoever. So all he does is hit home runs. The only thing he does the same in the regular season that he does in the postseason is hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else he does terribly, including defense. Case in point, the World Series last year. So, all right, Red Sox, Phillies. I'm going to say the Red Sox because I want the Red Sox to win, and I'm being biased. I think you need Roman Anthony to be back for that to actually happen. It doesn't seem like he will be back. I'm just not going to say not the Red Sox, but
dude, if Roman Anthony comes back for the World Series and Philly's there, I am scared as a Philly fan, because it's not only a player, it's a new energy and vibe to the team, and that team can bang Boston. They've done it all year, and they've dealt with injuries all year, I feel. And they also dealt with trading a superstar to San Francisco for, what was the return on that deal? Who'd you guys get? Kyle Harrison?
I don't want to talk about it.
My point is, you guys have still prospered without your superstar. And I think that you add in another superstar like Roman Anthony, he's a future superstar. Anything can happen. It's the MLB.
Look, read through the lines. Roman Anthony's probably not going to come back. Lucas Giolito has an elbow issue right now. He's not pitching in the wild card. I'm not going to bet against and say the Red Sox are losing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Phillies, in my opinion, are the best team right now.
Mm-hmm. No, so you're not giving an official answer. I'm just gonna say
my official answer is the Red Sox, but I mean, again, Roman Anthony's probably not going to be there, and Lucas Giolito is a huge question mark right now. So, the best team, who do I think is the best, most complete team? The Phillies. Who made the best moves at the trade deadline to improve their team? The Phillies. Who has an absolute stud in the postseason? the Phillies.
So
if I wasn't picking the Red Sox, I'd be picking the Phillies.
those are all sound arguments. So I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm going to be like you. I'm just taking my New York Yankees as my team to represent. But I'm not going to be shocked if Philly takes it all. Bryce Harper earns his first ring. That's pretty much it, though. That's the entire bracket. We wanted to just do a quick 35-minute episode. We're right in the middle, right at 30 right now. So anything else before we tie off that we want people to look out for?
Well, we're gonna go live for the game tomorrow, I believe. Right? Is that the plan?
That is the plan right now.
Yeah. So we're gonna be watching it anyway. So we get to, selfishly as friends, we get to kind of watch it together, and we might as well just. We're gonna be zooming each other, so we'll just zoom each other live and play some games. We'll do a giveaway. We'll do another giveaway tomorrow. I was thinking either doing like, I don't know, like looking at the cards and having like a Yankee or a Red Sox card, or just getting another like blaster or something. So I'll figure that out. But we'll do another giveaway tomorrow during that. So if you want to like pop in between innings, we'll be talking and playing some Stat Soldier games and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, overall very excited. We wanted to get an episode out, which is why we did this. In hindsight, we were both just going to pick our teams anyway because we're loyalists, and I'm completely blinded by that. So, and that's part of the problem. Like, I'm on this quest to be like an actual BBWA writer and get credentials and all that. And the biggest problem with that is just I'm so biased. So to be an actual baseball reporter, you have to be able to hide that bias, and I just don't. So so that I will probably never be able to do that, and that's kind of why I've been held out of certain things. I'm hoping I'll still be able to get at least like credentials to go to games. That will be nice. I think I could maybe swing that, but being able to be a BBWA writer and get voting rights, I think I'm going to have a difficulty doing that with just, I mean, it's very clear bias. So from both of us, but
Yeah, at least we're transparent about it. You know, some people try to hide that they're not biased. Like we cover more than just our teams, though, which is the beauty about what we do here. We get the freedom to write about what we want. Look out for me. I'm, minimum one blog tomorrow, and that'll be the playoff predictions from this, and then a few other things I'll throw in, like ALCS MVP, Super World Series MVP, stuff like that. Outside of that, hopefully I got 2 power rankings up, one for bullpens and one for lineups. I did one for the starting rotations of all the playoff teams.
I mean, the bullpen one has been sitting there for 3 weeks, so you got to have to have it mostly done, right?
It's been sitting there for about a week and a half, but it's on my, it will be done. It's the lineup one I'm worried about getting out, but minimum
then just get the bullpen, or at least get one out.
Yeah, minimum one.
We have a blog. You just put out your week review for the Yankees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing a regular season review for the Red Sox, which will go out tomorrow as well. James has a Red Sox versus Yankee postseason rankings, like their best matchups, going out in an hour. I have it scheduled for a little over an hour. But yeah, tomorrow, like I didn't do the Red Sox versus Tiger series review because it just felt redundant, like doing the one review because the Red Sox had already clinched, and it would essentially just be me saying I'm happy they clinched, which I'm putting in the season review anyway. So that'll come out tomorrow, and then we'll be just we'll probably watch all the games together for the most part, right?
Yeah.
They're all 6:08.
I have no practices in the afternoon this week.
I guess Wednesday I might not be able to. So I'll be at a meet. But definitely tomorrow, and then if there's game Thursday, we definitely be doing that as well.
I was gonna say Wednesday is a tough one for me because, as you know, I'm heading down to Texas. So depending what my availability is, I'll have my computer though. So we'll
definitely gonna be streaming tomorrow. So that's easy. So we'll just go from there. So again, pop in. We'll do some giveaways during the game, and then we'll kind of just watch, and we'll have the game day up for people who are maybe driving or something, and I guess they could just listen to the radio, but maybe they want to check in with us. So, all right.
Bye.
Bye.